Welcome to Strip Coverlet. I am Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
I don't want to do this video.
That was so enthusiastic. You had everything in that moment. Like, you just didn't have anything to say, and you're just like, I'm done. I'm done.
I'm done. We're halfway through the book, and it feels like I've read 6 or 7 books by now.
This is The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Part 2. This is the entirety of the first book, if you would. The first half of the novel. We have read, where is my bookmark? All the way up to the beginning of book 2. We have finished Flight to the Ford.
Yeah.
And it was life-changing for you. This is everything you wanted in a novel.
They walked into the dark and mysterious wood, and everything was all right until the 5th step. And on that 5th step, Frodo realized he hadn't eaten for approximately 45 minutes. And everything was wrong until that 9th step. And that 9th step into the woods, everything was all right. But that 12th step!
I told you this when we got into this. I said Tolkien is very dense. The man will describe a leaf for 20 pages.
That is not what dense means. Dense means there's a lot of things in there to unpack.
Okay.
That one sentence does many things.
Okay.
No one sentence in this really does anything. Like, there's not much going on at all.
Okay. I guess we can start out...
And on that 15th step,
I guess
hell had broken loose.
We can start out with this by addressing some of the comments. A lot of people, it seems to be on the fence here. Half the people are saying, I'm not doing this. This is awful. Lord of the Rings sucks.
It's awful.
So we have Team Adrian, and then we have half that just love Lord of the Rings. They're all about this. They're super excited. Team Dalton.
Most of those people, however, have read the novel previously.
Yes.
They are not reading the novel now.
Some of them are, though. Some of them are. It seems to be the biggest complaint that people are having is Adrian has compared the ring to the feminine ideology. The ring is a vagina. Correct?
I mean, that's in the text. I mean, it's literally being penetrated by a man, and then he holds the power.
Okay. But you also said the ring is an atom bomb, and a lot of people have said it has to be one or the other, Adrian. It can't be the same.
Well, in my experiences, the two things are pretty much the same. They destroy.
You're a terrible person. Where would you like...
The dislike button is below, by the way. I'm sure that's where this is going.
Okay. Where would you like to start with this? Anything you want to talk about?
I don't know where I want to start, but I know I want to end with Tom Bombadil.
Okay, that's where I totally want to start.
Tom Bombadillo?
Okay.
Or is it Spanish? Is it Tom Bombadillo?
I'd like to hope it's Bombadillo. I'm okay with that. Strider. How do you feel about Strider?
Strider, correct me if I'm wrong, Strider's a cowboy.
Yeah.
Reads like a knight. Or, no, presented like a knight. Reads like a cowboy.
Okay.
Because he is not all for the valor. He is, this is what we got to do, and if we got to shoot first, it's what we do.
Okay.
Also, this is one of the very few things that I know about the movies. I know who was cast as him in the movies.
Okay.
Upon reading it, I was like, wait, is this that guy?
Yes.
So I Googled it, right, to make sure that I wasn't just making that up. What a horrible job.
What?
Yeah. What a horrible job for casting, because Strider does not read as a handsome individual. Strider reads as that guy that's tore up.
Okay.
Strider's tore up, man.
Okay. We are going to reevaluate that statement at not at the end of this novel, at the end of the last novel.
We're not getting to the last novel.
Which, apparently Adrian has said we are not continuing The Lord of the Rings. This is The Fellowship of the Ring, period.
I'm not getting that far. But explain to me why it's the right casting.
It is the right casting because there is a lot more to Strider than we know as of now.
But he's not a handsome guy.
Okay.
And who's the guy that plays him in the movie?
Is it I always want to say Daniel Day-Lewis. It's not Daniel Day-Lewis.
It's knockoff Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay.
It's discount Daniel Day-Lewis, who's a very handsome individual, right? Strider is not.
Okay.
Strider might be missing half his nose.
Okay.
Strider's the guy that lives in the woods.
Now, I figured that you would love Strider. Strider would be your favorite character.
He's all right.
Because the idea of a ranger is a very Adrian thing.
They just go off.
He just sits in the corner, ignores everything, disappears, and lives by his own accord.
They are... Oh, man. I can't remember. They're the French Canadians.
The French Canadians?
The French Canadian that were the hunters. Boy, I'm going to look stupid in front of the whole internet right now.
Mainly Canada.
Yeah, but that is what these guys are. They were the roughest, toughest sons of bitches ever.
Okay.
And they just lived in the Canadian wilderness and shot things.
Okay.
But he's also... when he's talking, he's very cowboy.
Okay, yes. Very to the point, very blunt.
Yes.
This is what we need to do. This is what we have to do to do it. It does seem like a big element that we're getting into here, and again, I'm going to say it. Next week, you're going to feel better about this novel. We have made it to the House of Elrond.
You said that about this week.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
I said
did.
you have to get to the House of Elrond.
And the first week you said, well, you have to get past the prehistory there.
You'll feel better next week.
Into it.
But it seems the big theme as of right now is, in my opinion, the fear of the unknown. It's not a fear of, the Dark Riders. It's not a fear of the Dark Lord Sauron. It's the fear of the unknown. We don't know the ring's power. We should fear the ring. We shouldn't utilize it. You just got stabbed with this sword, Frodo. We shouldn't use the sword. We should fear that sword because we don't know what it can do. Very indicative, in my opinion, of what Tolkien would have been dealing with. Tolkien obviously being a war man. In a time where the technology of war was completely different than it had ever been.
Right.
Completely unknown what you were getting into. It was a different style of battle. It was a different style of weaponry. It was the fear of the unknown. This strange object, this strange presence, this strange entity that could have limitless power that you don't know about. That's kind of what I feel this is getting at. That fear of the unknown with this. Okay. Now, I know Tolkien was in the Battle of the Somme. Is it called the Battle of the Somme? Am I correct on that?
I thought it was the Battle of Somme.
Battle of Somme, maybe? I am not a history guy. I'm not hugely versed in that.
Okay.
I need to know more about that, I think. I think that would really comfort me more in this piece.
It probably would.
Because apparently that was a hellacious event.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think we'd find more from this piece in that.
So, open this book to any page.
I don't know if you're actually talking to me, but I just do what you tell me
I'm
anymore.
not sure what I am. I'm not sure if I am either.
Okay.
Open this book to any page, read any paragraph, and I want you to ask yourself 3 questions.
Okay.
Where is the literature? Number 1.
Okay.
2, what does this paragraph tell us about our main characters?
Okay.
And 3, how does this advance the main thrust of our story?
They now mounted their ponies and rode off silently into the evening. Darkness came down quickly, as they plodded slowly downhill and up again, until at last they saw lights twinkling some distance ahead.
Okay, where's the literature there?
You may have won on this one, because I got that was the entire paragraph.
Okay. 2, what does this story tell us about our main characters?
That they are plodding slowly downhill and up again.
Simply what our characters are doing.
Yes.
A movement, but not an action, tells us nothing about our characters. 3, how does this advance the main thrust of our story?
Moving forward.
Okay, so how does it advance the main thrust of our story compared to the paragraph after and the paragraph before? Which is the true testament of how it advances the main thrust of the story, no?
Okay.
If you're saying the same thing paragraph after paragraph, you're not really doing anything.
Okay. And a lot of people make this complaint with Tolkien. This was another complaint with the films as well. The films are 9 hours of people walking around in the woods. Well, that's the complaint.
I don't know what you people are doing with your lives that you want to see that.
Okay.
I just don't. I don't get it. Prove me wrong, by all means. tell me I'm an idiot, but back it up.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen anything so far.
Okay. I am excited for you to get to the Council of Elrond. That is a major scene in literature. I mean, that's referenced in a lot of things. That seems to be the big turning point of this novel. That's the piece that most people remember.
What is it referenced in?
And hold dear.
What is it referenced in?
It's referenced in The Martian. We read The Martian. Andy Weir?
Okay.
The Council of Elrond's referenced in that.
Referenced in what way?
They call their project...
is it a direct naming after the Council of... Okay, then it's not really a reference. It's just boldface putting it out there.
Okay.
B, The Martian, what great high literature we're talking about.
I hate you so much
so
some days.
Remember, 3 questions. 3 questions. Where's the literature? That is, where are we finding the big through the small or the small through the big, right?
Okay.
The things that make the things that explain ourselves to us.
Okay.
That is literature. 2, what does this paragraph tell us about our main characters? 3, how does this paragraph advance the main thrust of our story?
Okay.
Ask yourself that, paragraph after paragraph.
Okay. Now, from someone who doesn't have a big background in fantasy literature, how are you feeling with the different races that are being introduced to you? The race of men, the race of elves.
The house elves.
Whatever the hell Gandalf is.
I would rather speak about this when we get to Tom Bombadil.
Okay.
So moving along.
Okay.
How much do Black Riders feel like Dementors from Harry Potter? Especially that you freeze up when they are near.
Very much so.
How much does Gandalf feel like Dumbledore?
Very much so.
How coincidental is it that our protagonist in Harry Potter is about half the size of an adult?
Okay.
Mr. Butterbur runs an inn, and Butterbeer is found in a small inn a town away from Hogwarts. Just like Butterbur is the next town away from the Shire. Strider sure seems a lot like Sirius Black. They're both swashbucklers. He even has personal knowledge of the Black Riders' black breath. Just like old swashbuckling Sirius Black.
Swashbuckling Sirius Black.
Knew the Kiss of Death.
Okay.
Right? Or the Kiss of Death.
So you're saying that Harry Potter is Lord of the Rings?
I think you more aptly put it when I texted you. You said that references to this are in everything that is terrible.
No, I didn't say that.
You said everything, all shitty science fiction and
all
fantasy.
Fantasy literature comes from the Lord of the Rings.
Be honest, you said shitty
I
fantasy.
did not say shitty fantasy
You said
literature.
shitty...
Did I?
I'll show you the text message.
Maybe I did. I don't know.
No, you didn't.
I hate you.
I just had to put it out.
But no, all fantasy literature comes...
Get real nervous real quick? I didn't say that,
Did I say that? I may have said that. All fantasy literature comes from Lord of the Rings.
I don't care.
This created a genre.
Well, congratulations. So did Twilight. So did 50 Shades of Grey.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No, no.
So did Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
That is a subgenre.
Okay, is genre in the word or not?
This created an entire genre of literature.
An entire shitty genre of literature.
All of fantasy comes from the Lord of the Rings.
That's not true.
This is true.
The Old Testament came from Lord of the Rings.
The Old Testament is defined as fantasy?
I would define the Old Testament as fantasy.
Okay, I'll give you that one, but...
It seems to me that this has a lot more references to other fantasy. What about Greek mythology? Greek mythology comes from Lord of the Rings.
Okay, but
Or is it the other way around?
As a genre of fantasy,
because this reads to me like old L. Ron Hubbard here, what's his name, J.R.R. Tolkien, was reading Joseph Campbell and decided, or this was before Joseph Campbell, wasn't it?
This was 1950s.
So this was almost contemporary, I believe, with The Hero's Journey. But yeah, basically saying, okay, well, all religions are the same as all stories, and all stories are the same as all religions. So let's go all out and create everything. Create one of everything. And see how it plays out.
I'd just say the entire genre of worlds of elves, dwarves, magical wizards, blah, 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 this came from Tolkien. Tolkien is the granddaddy of that genre.
Okay, so the fire is our friend in the woods, right?
Okay, yes.
That goes back pretty far in mythology.
Yes, it does.
Even
Just because he created the genre does not mean he can't pull from something that's older.
From something that is older?
From other works that were older.
Other works of complete fiction that are older.
From mythos, from religious texts.
Sounds a lot like fantasy.
Okay. This is such a big piece. So many people love and hold this so dear.
So many people love and hold dear Dr. Seuss.
Okay.
That doesn't mean I'm going to enjoy it when I read it or be able to find a whole lot of literature in there.
Are you gonna
And
hate...
there's probably more literature in Dr. Seuss than there is in here.
Or say, are you going to hate on the Seuss next? Is
No,
that
no,
what
no,
we're
no,
moving
no.
to next? Adrian reads Dr. Seuss?
You know what? Children's literature might not be a bad place to go.
Bedtime stories with Adrian. Okay, let's talk... Do you have something else where you want to get to Tom Bombadil?
Yeah, just one point. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, right?
Okay.
So perhaps this is why the Hobbit is fit to carry the ring more than someone like Gandalf.
Okay.
Because if someone like Gandalf becomes corrupt absolutely,
all hell's broken.
there's no stopping him.
Correct.
Right? Or Strider. If Strider becomes... because Strider seems every bit as... what is it? As noble.
Okay.
As
There's a lot of power, yeah.
Right? So if Strider becomes corrupt absolutely with that power, then everyone's kind of screwed, right?
Okay. It is necessary that Frodo be the ring bearer. It's the hero's journey, it is. But it's also the underdog's journey. This is the man who should never have been thrown into this world, who would not be typically considered the hero.
Right. But what I'm saying is the reason Gandalf is saying, no, you need to keep the ring, so that if you become absolutely corrupt, I might have some say in knocking you off. You were just a weak little hobbit.
Yeah, good chance.
We might be able to destroy you.
Good chance.
Right? Because this is back in the day when, yeah, no one's signing a peace treaty.
Okay.
Right? So if Gandalf is running a nation that is controlling the world because he has the ring, and you invade with all the forces of everything ever, and you destroy everyone but Gandalf's got to be killed.
Yeah.
You know?
This is one of those things where, if you take a look at Frodo, we already have prior knowledge of what happens to at least two characters who have been ring bearers who did not know how to utilize the power of the ring. You have Bilbo Baggins, who carried the ring for an unnaturally long time.
Yes.
He was aware of how the ring would make him disappear, but he didn't know the actual power of the ring. That's all he used it for, was a trinket. We also have Gollum, Schmeagol, however you want to remember him. You haven't really got into him yet, but he's been talked about. Who carried the ring for a ridiculous amount of time. Again, no idea how to use the power, but it kept him alive for well past his years. It's one of those things, let's give it to the weak character. Because if we give it to the weak character, they don't know how to utilize it, they can't turn on us. If it does corrupt them, big deal, they're easily extinguished.
Well, here's the thing, they're not that easily extinguished because they're still the ring bearer. B, then you have to have someone to take the ring.
Someone else
you
is going
still
to have
have to have someone to take the ring.
Yes. But Gandalf does say very specifically, I believe in the first portion, we talked about this a little bit in the last video, no, I'm not fucking taking it.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Because if I do, I'm ruling the world.
Tom Bombadil doesn't seem too interested in having it either.
Tom Bombadil actually puts on the ring and it has no effect on him.
Yeah. Okay.
Tom Bombadil. Let's talk him.
Well, hold on. I got one more thing to bring up because I forgot all about this and I didn't write it down.
Okay.
One thing that gets me so far in the story is everyone knows they're looking for Frodo.
Okay.
Old Dildo Baggins disappeared by putting the ring on. And everyone outside of the Shire knows that Dildo Baggins is the ring bearer.
Okay.
Right? And he disappeared by disappearing. Literally disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
So people should be under the impression that Dildo Baggins is still carrying the ring. Why aren't they looking for him? Why are they looking for Frodo?
That will be addressed.
Okay.
So, that we'll tie up that loose end. Let's talk about fucking Tom Bombadil.
Hold on, I got one
No,
more.
you don't. Tom Bombadil is the most interesting character in this entire piece.
I can tell you why he was left out of the movie. You said he was left out of the movie?
Why was he left out of the movie?
He's completely inconsequential.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Does not matter.
Doesn't matter to the mythos of Middle-earth. Doesn't it matter to the Middle-earth in general.
Doesn't seem to.
Doesn't save Frodo. Doesn't help Frodo along his journey.
Helps Frodo. Okay, so here's the deal. If you're telling this big, long, intricate tale,
okay,
and part of the tale is you come to Adrian's apartment, and a giant spider's going to eat you, and Adrian saves you from giant spider.
Okay.
And then you leave, and Adrian's apartment has nothing to do with the rest of your tale. Why is it in there?
Is Adrian...
And if you're spending billions of dollars, or millions of dollars, $300 million probably, to make a movie, you're not going to put this part in there.
I think they didn't put it in there because it is a hard character to create on film.
No, Tom Bombadil does not matter.
Tom Bombadil is very important to Middle-earth. Very much so.
Does he pop back up again?
Tom Bombadil is very important to Middle-earth.
You know what Tom Bombadil is, right?
What is Tom Bombadil?
Tom Bombadil is a god.
I agree wholeheartedly with you.
He is not God. He is a god. He is the god of this forest.
Okay.
When you are first introduced to him, he seems a lot like Old Man Time, doesn't he?
Yes, very much.
And his wife is the river. And the river lady flows like time, and she's also a sign of fertility and agelessness, right? The river always, and movement and growth, always moves. Both of these things, Old Man Time and the river, both metaphors for agelessness. So these people are never getting older.
Okay.
Now it seems when we throw around the nomenclature of a god today, it seems a bit different than it should. Because, did you ever play Civilization?
Sid Meier's Civilization?
Yeah, Sid Meier's
yes,
Civilization.
actually.
Okay, when you graduate from polytheism to monotheism, what's the little emblem that is represented by?
I assume a cross of some sort?
I don't believe so. I believe it was the Star of David.
I'm more concerned as to why you're referencing a video game, but please do.
You know, I'm more well-rounded than you will give me credit for. But that is because we see our world through the eyes of monotheism.
Okay.
If there is not... I am an atheist. If there is not a God, there are none.
Okay.
Right? This was not the case in the times that seem to be coinciding with the Lord of the Rings, right?
Yes.
So, even in... What is the commandment? Thou shalt put no other strange gods before me.
Okay.
This is a nod to the fact that there are other gods.
Yeah.
This is also a nod to the fact that the Abrahamic God is strange, right?
Yes.
It's in there.
In the 1950s, when published, this would have been more of a big deal than it is now.
Right.
Especially for a reader who had not had any experience in a fantasy genre at this time, where the idea of gods just living amongst men, there are multiple gods, there's a god for everything, is kind of a trope of fantasy literature.
Right, but it's also not addressed here, is it?
No.
He is just all-powerful.
He is all-powerful.
And it is an incantation that summons him.
Yes.
It is a prayer that brings about Tom Bombadil.
Yes. But Tom Bombadil is, I agree with you 100%, he is a god. He makes it very clear that he is not only older than everything, he was here long before the trees were here, that's why he can, tame Old Man Willow. The interesting thing here is he is unaffected by the ring. Because the ring is just one of those damn things those men made. And they're just going to fight, and they're going to have their war over this ring. And it just doesn't matter, because Tom Bombadil is way beyond that.
And I think this does not seem as striking, but it is just as striking because of the order in which this was introduced. You get the ring as they're leaving Tom Bombadil. Mm-hmm. Do you remember their introduction to Tom Bombadil?
Off the top of my head, he's just humming through the forest as they're being attacked by the tree.
By the trees. He frees them from the trees, takes them to his house, and what is he telling them?
I'm not sure. Eat and
There
drink?
was this Black Rider here.
Ah.
Who was not affected by Tom Bombadil.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So, when you think of mythos, evil gods and good gods, they can do battle. That Black Rider didn't seem to really care when old Tom Bombadil was saying, "I'm going to stick my dogs on you," did he?
Okay.
Was that him or was that a different character? I believe that was him.
I need to reread it again. I think you're talking about the farmer.
Am I talking about the farmer?
I think so.
Okay. So maybe I'm wrong there.
Because that was previous. That was a week ago.
Was it?
The farmer was a week ago. We started this in the house of Tom Bombadil.
This is all bled together because it's so...
What I think is really
worthless.
important to take away from this is just a trifle of men. Tom Bombadil sees no. It's just that whole thing, if an hour is an hour to you, what is an hour to God?
Right.
Nothing. What's a year? What's a century? Tom Bombadil sees no issue with this because this does not affect him. That's why he's unaffected by the ring. Tom Bombadil's still going to keep going on whether the Dark Lord takes over the place, whatnot, whether the good guys save the day. Tom Bombadil's still Tom Bombadil.
Yeah.
Because he is unaffected by time, he is a god, which is delightful. Do you feel a little bit better? Did you get that off your chest?
Why was Frodo... Okay, so I think you're right about the farmer's...
Maggot?
Baggo?
M-A-G-G-O-T?
Maggot.
Maggot?
Farmer Maggot.
Okay.
You're right about Farmer Maggot. Here's the strange thing that I didn't think about before. Why was Frodo afraid to go into these woods and to find Farmer Maggot?
That is kind of, I would assume, local lore. This is the man that, has always sick dogs on people who are in his fields.
No, it's
he was
because...
warned by his friend.
No.
No?
It was because he had been in those fields before.
His friend had been in the fields before.
His friend had... Okay, none of this makes sense.
Frodo had been there, I believe, when he was young.
Yeah.
When he was a child.
What was he doing?
He was stealing mushrooms.
Mushrooms. So Tom Bombadil is the god of mushrooms.
Okay.
Of the mushroom forest.
Okay.
What do mushrooms grow on?
Fungus? Death?
Decay? Die, decay. What else might fester inside something that is dying and decaying? Maggots.
Okay. Interesting. Tom Bombadil, the god of death.
Or the god of mushrooms.
Or the god of drugs. I mean, did you see the man just walking around singing to himself?
Yeah, walking around singing to himself. Doesn't apparently trees grow over people?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, trees growing over people. A lot of burials happen by trees. That way you remember where such and such is.
See, we're finding more. We're finding more already. But we will do this every Friday until we are done with the Fellowship of the Ring. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and follow us through our journey. I cannot talk. Of the Fellowship of the Ring. Adrian, anything else you'd like to say?
Make sure you follow us on Twitter @StripCover and on Facebook @StrippedCoverLit.